Per usual, everyone, this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Macro Monday on Tuesday. Let's take a look at some legacy charts. I'm glad I waited a day because gold has pulled back 6%. It's probably the largest pullback in a decade for gold on any single day, famous for its lack of volatility. Crypto has pulled up quite a bit, so this down move has been helpful. Overall, the trend still looks fine. Ideally, this enters a prolonged phase of consolidation. The deepest I'd expect this to go would be around 3,800, which is essentially the daily key June there. You've got a bear div playing out. You've probably got a bunch of people on high leverage being margin called to some degree. Just is what it is. No trailing stop losses here on gold that have triggered just yet. So all the heroes are rejoicing as the gold BTC pair trade looks to be alive and well. On the weekly, 3 days left to confirm, but you do have a weekly tweezer top there. That's 2 wicks, the second wick not surpassing the first. This is a reversal signal, assuming it closes like this and assuming the next week is a down week, a red week. You can see how far we are from the TK lines there. And it's not a matter of certainty, but a matter of probability. What do you expect for continuation in the near term after 9 green weeks? That's it, right? This has nothing to do with debasement or the debt or whatever. If you're talking about trades, you're talking about probabilities, and it is going to be hard to continue this without some consolidation. That's all. We also have the ETFs for gold seeing a ton of flows, which is what we want to see on the Bitcoin side, because typically when we see inflows on gold ETFs, it has been towards the top. We also had a ton of people, this is just from Alex Kruger, a ton of people reporting lines out of their local bullion shops. Now, we don't know if these people are buying or selling, to be fair, but you probably would say it's an increase in volume beyond what you'd normally expect. We'll put it like that. So for BTC today, not only did we not keep going lower, at least for the day, we pulled up quite a bit. So that's what we needed to see. First, we needed to see gold start to slow down and pull back, which we did. And then we needed to see some sort of reaction showing that BTC wasn't completely dead. So that's helpful. We're getting there. Anything above 115. I mean, it's possible. We already have this megaphone thing that I don't have drawn in, but you can imagine it with your eyes now at home. It's possible that we have this inverted head and shoulders case, shoulder head, shoulder yet to be formed with a neckline at 115. That would be the clean option of this trade to the long side. The cloud is flipping red here, so any more lower lows, any more living down here below the cloud, really not what you want to see. Not what you want to see, especially 1,000 days from the bottom of a trend in what should be a bullish year. We'll take the cycle conversation day by day, week by week, month by month, but I don't think there's anybody who thinks the cycle's intact, air quotes, if we start curling below 100K. So it still feels like very much that we're on thin ice and it's just a day by day thing. The further we can make distance above 115 and hold it, the better. We still have Asia coming in virtually every night and just selling us off. Feels like some of that happened today towards the end of the day. I think we briefly tapped 114, but that's fine. I'd rather us struggle on the way up than push on the way down. So no trades here for me on BTC at the moment. For ETH, also no trades, also in the cloud. This looks better than BTC. It's firmly in the cloud. The cloud is thicker. Again, bad things happen below the cloud. Good things happen above. You do have a case for an Adam and Eve here. On lower time frames, neckline at 4,200. Cloud breakout would be 4,200. That would be the first time I would be taking a trade on ETH. And then above that at 48, I like ads. But until then, I don't think there's anything to do there. And Sol, same deal, back in the cloud. Maybe an Adam and Eve. And generally a giant mess. For MSTR, still no trade. Again, you're better off trading leveraged BTC or leveraged ETH than fooling around with this, in my opinion, until this is at least above 350. And ultimately, it needs to get back above 400. BMNR also kind of floundering down here. Had been setting up for a nice ascending triangle on lower time frames. Doesn't quite look to be the case anymore, but worth keeping an eye on if ETH does start to outperform BTC. For legacy calendar this week, market's still closed. Market's open. Government's still closed. So we're not getting any government data, but we are getting CPI on Friday because of a COLA adjustment, cost of living. on Social Security. They need that data, so they are going to release that. We'll see what it is. I don't know if the market's really going to care, but it'll be the first bit of government data we've gotten in quite some time. Looking at the Fed probabilities, we are baking in a very high probability of multiple cuts, almost a guaranteed cut next meeting, and then almost a guaranteed cut in December. Assuming the government's back open by then and we have a bunch of data, this can move plus or minus quite a bit. But this 1029 number for the Fed meeting is likely to be firmly baked in at this point, otherwise known as we are getting a 25 basis point cut next meeting. Then we have a month off, so we'll see what happens after that. A lot of interesting stuff going on with regional banks, some bad debt going around, bringing down some smaller banks on the West Coast. Some of that's spilling into other regional banks, but generally things look okay for now. If anything, the bank reserve ratio has fallen below 3 trillion. Reverse repos basically fumes at this point. So there are some evidence of tightness in liquidity. On the inflation front, inflation is kind of firmly held here at 2.25% for quite some time. And if we look at the inflation projections, expectations for September into October, it's holding below 3, not by much across the board. Ideally, these numbers keep coming down. We're 21 days into October. Because of how this data is collected, who knows if we're going to get data that's as accurate as it otherwise would have been. So it may take 3 to 6 months after the government comes back to actually get reliable data. We'll get data either way, but whether or not it's reliable is another thing. But based on estimates here, we do have inflation across the board coming down month over month. CPI or GDP, on the other hand, is roofing. It's almost at 4% up here on the quarter. Estimates lifting off as well. So again, that's not recessionary. 4% GDP, not recessionary. Don't know who needs to hear that. Here's reverse repo, basically zero. Really nothing left in there, under 5 billion for quite some time. So not a lot of extra liquidity considering there was over 2 trillion at one point in 2023. Now, again, I'm bringing this up. A lot of these legacy charts, I'm going to look at biotech in a deeper way today, but a lot of them, it's like you have 2 options, 3 options, I guess. The first option being this chart. Doesn't matter what it is, but I like this chart a lot. It's got inverted head and shoulder all over it. It's got the clouds blessing here and a new higher high, maybe into November, December. We'll see if this puts a cap on BTC. A lot of people very angry with me saying, you know what, in XYZ time period, DXY and BTC moved up together. Okay, look, I'm here for it. I'm all about it, but I'm also playing the probabilities. And I would think it would be easier for crypto to go up if the dollar isn't also going up. So if you're looking for a place to rotate into from gold, NFA, DXY is an option, UUP is an option. That's not a forever option. That's not an investment. That's a trade. That's what that's called. But this looks very appealing to the long side. And then this is the second option, right? Something that's been running for months. Looks fine. Doesn't look heavy. Doesn't look at risk of rolling over. As a matter of fact, you're getting a Williams fractal entry yesterday on that close, the price above a fractal. So this looks fine. Absolutely fine. No issues whatsoever. No issues for reversal. Mild head and shoulders risk, but really nothing to pay too much attention to. Same thing to QQQ. Looks great. Really nothing to say or do. And for crypto, again, we want IWM outperforming tech. We want riskier stuff like biotech outperforming. Biotech previously, this is XBI, had a massive head and shoulders that it just didn't break down from. Shoulder, head, shoulder, potentially another shoulder, right? And away she went. So a lot of the biotech stuff has started to turn around as rates are coming down, as people are moving down the risk spectrum. And many of these biotech charts look way overheated, at least on the bigger names, the GLP-1 names. On the other side of the spectrum, there's a few, I think, out there, more so than just what I'm going to talk about in this video, that have some potential and opportunity, I think. And here's XBI. This is the weekly. This is the daily. It's like, well, this thing's moved from 80 to 110 in 2 months. Maybe give it a second on the index. One index I like better, not really an index, more like an ETF, but ARCG. Again, we're comparing, it's like the SPY versus Dixie, XBI versus ARCG. This is on the weekly. This is a weekly cloud breakout. Pretty firm at this point over the past couple weeks. And you can even contrast this with any of the rare earth stuff, any of the metals, commodities. Most of these commodities charts have done very, very well. So it certainly feels a little late for most of those, unless you are waiting on a pullback, which I think is totally fine. Again, if we contrast this with gold, right? Gold is up 9 weeks in a row after a multi-month consolidation. Maybe as a trade, other things start to look a little bit more appealing. So amongst biotech, there's, I'm sure, hundreds, if not thousands of names. These are just some of the top names that came out of the XBI and ARCG in no particular order. NTRA, this one certainly looks interesting. Again, I love multi-month consolidation. I love higher highs. I love all-time highs. I love price discovery. I love momentum. So this one certainly looks like a tradable name to the long side. Tempest AI is also a popular name that a lot of people have been talking about. It has broken out of its pattern. It just hasn't really gone anywhere. I dropped it 1 or 2 days ago at this point, but I did trade this breakout. It just didn't go anywhere. No harm in holding this here, I don't think, but you may be better off if the AI stuff is cooling off a little bit, if the quantum stuff is cooling off a little bit, if the nuclear stuff, the really, really hot stuff that was running, if that sector is slowing down, and this is in that sector, to me, it makes a little less sense to continue to expect this to move unless it has some sort of outsized announcement that is unexpected, but still looks fine. I just wanted a little bit more by now. CRSP, this is CRISPR, top name in a few indices. This kind of looks like the miner charts, the Bitcoin miner charts. Kind of looks like even ETH a little bit in a different way with that descending broadening wedge. It's above the weekly cloud. Plenty of room on the upside here. Hasn't broken out. I like this today. I like it at highs. I like it lower. As long as it can hold above the weekly cloud. This is a very tradable pattern, tradable chart. The other time this was tradable was back here when it failed. So not only is it a real deal pattern over multiple years, it already tried and failed a couple times, and it's back to that level. You can also see evidence of an inverted head and shoulders here that failed to go anywhere. So of all the charts on the biotech this is definitely at the top of the list for me. Pfizer, again, some of these are like massive mega corporations, right? With the vaccine stuff and RFK, yada, yada, yada. Pfizer has not done well whatsoever since 2022, post-COVID, really. Chart pattern-wise, maybe you get an inverted head and shoulders out of this into 2026. Maybe this is something to keep in your back pocket to rotate into in 2026. This will probably take some time to work its way through the weekly cloud. But again, this has a shot, right? It has a shot at being a trade later on. It's getting there. It's consolidating. I like this the moment it starts to peak out of the weekly. Moderna also just kind of hanging out at lows. Don't really love the look of this. Let me pull this up on the daily just to double check to make sure there's not a decent pattern there, but there's something trying to happen. It's just nothing quite going on there at the moment. I would love to see this make a slightly higher high, but for now, on the daily, it tells you all you need to know. Anything above 30, I think it's go time. It's certainly paid its dues over multiple years and consolidated for a long time. Gilead, or Gilead, I forget how they pronounce this, making higher highs. It's got momentum. It's got a bullish TK recross price above cloud. So I like it as much as NTRA. This is what I like. I'd rather throw money at this than Moderna. Biogen also starting to pull back up. You got a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders down there. TK cross to the bull side and an edge to edge potentially. So definitely more tradable, at least on the weekly, than some of this other junk. AbbVie also continues to have momentum, continues to push higher. Had some sort of like head and shoulders ascending broadening wedge here. You can see it like a megaphone. Had another head and shoulders attempt down here. So it's really done well at fighting off any of these bearish patterns, and it looks good. For me, I'd probably just rather just sit in ARCG and then pick 2 to 3 other names that I like individually, just based on the chart. This is Novo Nordisk. GLP-1 did very, very well and then has pulled back a lot. There is a huge megaphone down here. something to watch again, probably into 2026, but I don't think there's anything to do there. Hims also did very well on selling GLP-1s. Doesn't look like there's much to do here. If anything, there's a Head and Shoulders up here. It was a very hot name in 24 and 25 when it did rather well. Regeneron, also interesting from a TA perspective. Multi-year downtrend, bottoming out, any higher highs, and I think it's go time on this one. And of course, all of these, what do they need? They need a headline, right? A headline on some trial or some medication patent. That's going to help a lot. Illumina, I think this is the biotech supplier, or one of the suppliers anyway. They might do more than that, but this has Head and Shoulders, cup and handle, megaphone, cloud stuff, anything above 100, 101, it's probably go time. So this is setting up very, very nicely as well. BNTX, Biotech, also getting there. Again, I love this multi-year downtrend, right? This is what you want to see. You want to be there when everybody else is giving up, when everybody else is sold, had enough, whatever. Any higher highs in this on the daily, and it looks good to go. VRTX, another one a lot of people have been talking about. I like this back above the cloud. It's getting there. It's super volatile, up and down. But if it can get back above the cloud, I like that one a lot more. Revolution Medicines, huge cup and handle. Huge. I don't know what you do with that information, but it's a multi-year cup and handle. Some people love that stuff. They love the moonshot chart patterns, but on the weekly it looks good. This one looks too far gone. Insmed, INSM, done really well since 2024. Definitely a little late. Money probably better elsewhere. IONS, kind of same deal. Just a huge reversal from 20. Might want to give that one a minute. Exact Sciences starting to pull above high time frame cloud. Super volatile, super messy. For me, I'd rather just trade clean breakouts that have really done nothing for a long time than try to fool around with this. But the cloud certainly likes it. Amgen, tons of intra-year volatility, but year over year has continued to move higher at 300 here. It looks like it's consolidating. You can check the Costco chart. That's the ultimate bullish continuation example of these triangles. Any higher high, and I don't hate it. You can see how it sort of fought off this Head and Shoulders here, and it's just reconsolidating. Don't like it today, but something to keep in your back pocket as well. United Therapeutics looks fine, but I don't see like a tradable chart there. And then Charles River Laboratories International, CRL. A lot of people looking at this one, trading this one. Don't necessarily know why, if it's a volume thing or if it pops up on a screener, but I'm sure there's a bunch of these smaller biotech names that people are looking at. Maybe it's some like orphan disease drug that they got a trial for. In any event, Cloud loves it. Bullish TK cross, price above cloud. You've got some sort of inverted Head and Shoulders fractal down here playing out. So plenty of stuff to trade at Head and Shoulders up here on the way down. So I think overall, ArcG looks good. CRISPR looks good. Moderna, back burner. What was the other one? Regeneron looks good. Illumina looks good. BNTX. So there are quite a few. And if I missed one, you can let me know in the comments and we'll take a look. That's all I have for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.